He's got to be very, very careful on March the 8th, because we know Ngannou brings in ferocious power and...
Pro boxing fans, we're here in London for the announcement of Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. With me, Artur Smith. Adam, first of all, Happy New Year. I've not seen you since we were in Riyadh together at the end of last year. How are you? How's things?
Yeah, good. Had a very nice Christmas, and I hope you had a lovely festive break. We got back on Christmas Eve, I think, from that trip. A good one out to Saudi, enjoyable show, and on we go. It's not long now till Fury and Usyk, and then this one in March, and the heavyweight scene is rolling on and very, very hot at the moment in Saudi.
Talk to me about the ambition of Turki Al-Sheikh. He stood up there, named some big fights. Artur Beterbiev, Bivol. We've got this. We've got the undisputed. There's some big ambitions coming out of Saudi. Have you seen anything like this before?
It's a huge happening, isn't it? And it's amazing for the sport. You know, just to see Frank and Eddie alongside each other at a press conference, and I think they were getting on in Saudi when we were there, and it's terrific for the fighters and it's great for the fans, and that's the key with boxing. Good matches being made, and it's wonderful to have the unified undisputed heavyweight championship in just a few weeks. The first time in almost 25 years. It's brilliant, and just big shows and big entertainment, and the Joshua and Ngannou fight has got that sort of fascinating element to it because of what happened with Tyson Fury and Ngannou, and he obviously, His Excellency Turkey has got a huge amount of ambition. He's obviously very passionate about the sport, and we've seen, you know, different parts of the world, in America, in Britain, in different areas. Germany was hot for a long time with the Klitschko's, and it seems that Saudi is the place to be for big time, for heavyweight boxing. And while they're making these big matches, you mentioned Bivol and Beterbiev. Artur was very impressive the other night, and we want to see that fight happen. So if these matches are being made, bring them on.
Let's talk about this one. A lot of people expected when Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou that it would possibly just be a one-hit wonder for Francis. He'd be in and out of the heavyweight division and carry on with the PFL. That hasn't been the case. He put in an excellent performance, puts him in place for this fight with Anthony Joshua. What do you make of Francis Ngannou, taking in fact that he's within 6 months of being a professional fighter, he's going to have fought number one and possibly number two or number three in Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury?
What did Don King used to say? Only in boxing. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It was a strange watch last time. Everybody thought Tyson would deal with Ngannou with ease, probably stop him late on, or certainly just, you know, utilise the occasion, the experience. I think they flew every single Hall of Fame fighter in. It was a show. It actually turned out to be a bit of a nightmare for Tyson, and Francis Ngannou boxed really well. And look, he comes again off the back of that one. He gets another huge name in AJ, and obviously, as Eddie and Anthony were saying up there, this is a fight they have to take extremely seriously. He's a huge guy with massive power, a novice boxer, but after what he showed last time, he was decent, and decent enough to push Fury to the wire. Most people thought Fury lost the fight. It was certainly extremely close, and Tyson goes on to fight for the undisputed title. AJ wants to fight for the world heavyweight title again, and this Ngannou's in the sort of picture. It's madness, but you can't take your eyes off it, and I think the casual fans will love this. I think everybody wanted to see AJ and Wilder in March. That didn't happen because of Joe Parker's terrific, probably best ever performance. In sort of dismantling Deontay was really poor just before Christmas, and in comes Ngannou, and there's this another strange sort of match. But it's again, it's a really highly anticipated one because there's so much power in that ring, and we know in heavyweight boxing anything can happen.
He spoke about AJ's chin there. He's mentioned it in an interview with Ariel Helwani, where he said, listen, I'm not sure AJ is all that tough, and I'm going to test his chin out. We see the name of this is called Knockout Chaos. Do you expect there to be a testing of chins in this fight?
Well, I mean, Ngannou's really, he showed some boxing skills against Tyson Fury, but you'd have thought that he's probably going to have to knock out Anthony Joshua. The way Joshua came back against Otto Wallin, his relationship with Ben Davison, I think, is beginning to thrive. And I think, in the boxing department, AJ should be just way too good for him. And you can't underestimate the power that Ngannou brings, and also that southpaw style and the difficulty that Fury had in dealing with that. And Ngannou will bring a lot of confidence into the ring. He had nothing to lose against Tyson Fury, and look how he did. Nothing to lose once more against Anthony Joshua, and we know Joshua has been stopped by Andy Ruiz, and he has been down several times. So Ngannou and Team Ngannou fancy it, and they'll want to try and take Joshua out. They've said it. They'll knock him out come March the 8th, and that's the plan. Will they do it? I'm not so sure. Anthony's got a new chapter with him. I think there's a resilience with Joshua. I think he's gone through a rough time. I think he's a sponge. He keeps learning, and I think he does want those huge fights. The Tyson Fury fight is still out there for him, and I expect him to go in and be very, very professional against Ngannou, and I expect him to get the job done.
Something I was watching a couple of months ago, John Fury was talking about Anthony Joshua, and he said, listen, physically you don't have to change much with him, it's all mental with him. If you can get him in the right mental place, he is going to be a big force once again. Do you feel like now, with his setup now, that he's in the mental state that he needs to be in to challenge for them titles again?
I think he was terrific when he was being trained by Robert McCracken, and he knew him from the amateurs. And then they split, and he sort of went through a different sort of scene, didn't he, for a while, and it was tough. I think he maybe just took control a bit too much, and now he was saying, and some of the camp was saying, that with Ben, he's really listening, and he wants to learn, and I think that's very important at this stage of AJ's career. He's desperate to become a 3-time champion. He's got all the money in the world. He's doing this for himself. He's a competitor. He's a winner. And I think last time out against Otto wasn't good. It was a poor performance from Otto Wallin, but Joshua didn't let him into the fight. He stamped his authority from the opening bell. He utilised that jab, which I think is the most potent weapon for any heavyweight. I think it's an underestimated punch for AJ. I don't think he's used it well enough in recent times, and I think he did against Wallin. I thought his work to the body was good. I thought he was cool. I thought he listened to Ben in the corner. I like what I saw. They're going to be tougher tests ahead, but I think Joshua's in the frame of mind. And what I like about him as well is he's keeping busy. There's a momentum to Joshua, and I think that he's going to come again. And I think that Fury fight, providing Fury gets past Usyk, I think that Fury fight's still out there for Joshua. But, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, and he's got to be very, very careful on March the 8th, because we know Ngannou brings in ferocious power and the confidence from the Fury. Well, he believed it was a win. Many people thought it was a robbery. It was a close fight. Tyson was lucky. Tyson was terrible that night. He knows he's going to have to be a huge amount better against Alexander Usyk. But that's a different fight. Styles make fights. Different night. Maybe he underestimated Ngannou, and Ngannou boxed out of his skin. What will happen against Joshua? Well, we'll find out in a few weeks' time. What I do know is that Saudi are putting on these incredible matches, these big entertainment feasts, and I think it's wonderful for fight fans. I think it's wonderful for all of us.
It is indeed. Last one I want to ask you about is Artur Beterbiev against Callum Smith. We saw what a dominant performance that was. I think a lot of people were hinting at Callum Smith, or predicting Callum Smith knockout. We saw what Beterbiev brought to the table. I want to ask you something that's come up from the aftermath about this. See a few fighters online talking about maybe there needs to be more testing. A fighter doesn't get stronger with age, is what Tony Bellew is saying. What do you make of this narrative that's getting built up after Artur Beterbiev's strong performance against Callum?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I wasn't around the fight. It's difficult to comment on that side of it. Look, all I know is Artur Beterbiev is a fantastic fighter. He was a wonderful amateur, and he's unbeaten, and he's knocked everyone out. Callum Johnson had his moment almost in the sun, didn't he, in Chicago? But Callum, I'm disappointed for Callum. It was an opportunity, and I probably think Callum should have been a light heavyweight a little bit earlier on in his career. I think he struggled to sort of keep in that super middleweight frame for a long time, but Beterbiev showed how good he is. He's sometimes not that pretty on the eye, but he's so effective. His intelligence and the way he cuts the ring down. The ring was tiny. I think that was to his advantage. I thought Callum's power would be a little bit more evident, but it wasn't. It was a very dominant display by Artur Beterbiev. I don't know about the testing has got to be ruthless, and that's what we've always said. There's no place for drugs in sport. We know that. Artur Beterbiev and Callum Smith fought. The better man won. Beterbiev goes on and he fights Dimitri Bivol, we hope, in a huge unification. And look, I'm not getting involved or being taken in by those sort of comments. I wasn't around the fight. I wasn't around the build-up. But what I do know is what I saw in the ring on the night, and that is Artur Beterbiev is an incredible fighter, and he's pound for pound one of the best, and we'll see him against Dimitri Bivol, because I think that Turkey will make that fight, and I think it will happen, and I think everyone will be watching it, and it's another fight you can't miss.
You did say June in Saudi Arabia, which means it's going to be very hot. It's time to pull out the shorts and the t-shirt.
Riyadh season finished, didn't it, in March, April, or it looks like we're going to extend it, or certainly extend the boxing sunshine, and that's great. Let's keep it going while the Saudis are investing heavily, and while there's a huge amount of sport that's happening there. The fighters have got to go, and the fighters have gone, and we had a great time in Saudi, didn't we? A day of reckoning, and I think there'll be many more big nights ahead this year in 2024, and hopefully beyond.
Cool. Adam Smith, always a pleasure to talk to yourself. So no doubt I'll see you in the coming weeks. Probably see you in Riyadh. Are you going to be there?
I hope so. If you invite me there, I'll come.
I'm not the one to invite you. Got to ask the man upstairs. But that's fine. Thank you very much, Adam Smith. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.